and good luck. And welcome back to Good Luck with Gino. I'm your host, Gino the Ghost, and you're watching the fastest growing podcast in the world, episode 65 of the fastest growing podcast in the world. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you like the show, give it a 5-star review, save it to your device, and send it to a loved one and or arch nemesis. If you're watching on YouTube, and you should be watching on YouTube, isn't that right, Gengar? Gengar's back. Everybody fucking relax. He took a week off. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you flick that like button, you fucking smash that subscribe button, and you leave a comment. The best way to leave a comment is to comment what you say to yourself in the mirror every morning. You say, I'm an oil man. Because you have an oil well. Because you've been greasing up this algorithm for, some of you, 65 episodes now. So you're going to grease up that algorithm. You're going to leave a comment, whether it's your first show. And if it's your first show, you're probably pretty confused right now, but that's okay. Just go with it. Yeah, leave a comment. And if you don't, well, I'll send a curse on you and your family. Guys, I want to encourage you, check out the merch. Check out the merch on my website. The link's below. We've got raving reviews. We've got shirts and t-shirts. Shirts and t-shirts. Those are the same thing. Shirts and hoodies of the Bring Back Bullying movement. You can see the designs here. What better way to show your support for this show and the Bring Back Bullying movement than to rock some cool gear to showcase that. Let's get into the week. First and foremost, my week, very uneventful. So we're going to just kind of get into the news of the week. Before we get into politics, because about an hour before the show, Joe Biden decided to fuck my whole show. He said, "Oh, Gino, you've been planning your show all week? Fuck that show. You better get to work. You better plan a completely new one." Before we get into that, we're going to talk about one of the other big things that happened this week. I mean, is it just me or are these weeks moving like years now? I mean, I'm fucking exhausted. I can't go 2 calendar days without some seismic event happening. Like the biggest server failure in the history of technology happened this week. Crowdstrike, which is just a massive, massive fucking data company, and a cybersecurity company, they released a software update on July 19th for its Falcon sensor. Supposed to be just a routine update, but the problem is the update contained a flawed configuration file, which caused everything to crash. And when I say everything, I mean like everything. Commercial airline flights went down, media broadcasting went down, banks went down, healthcare services went down, emergency services went down, lights went down, like traffic lights went down, and obviously Microsoft went down. We saw Windows machines across the country had the blue screen of death. Basically, they just completely fucked the whole shit. Multiple sectors that have a high dependency on CrowdStrike cybersecurity services just smoked. The CEO went on and tried to oh, everything's fine, everybody. Damn near had a breakdown on camera. It was it was wild. And basically affected devices couldn't connect to the internet to download the necessary patch because there was in tech, it's called a boot loop issue, which I won't even bother trying to explain. We don't have enough time. But basically, CrowdStrike advisors, they started telling users to boot up their devices in safe mode or Windows recovery mode, and then they had to go in and manually delete the faulty file, which most people don't know how to do that. Even some people that work in tech. So many companies are like SOL. I mean, there were reports of like hospital systems who had like thank God, one IT guy that knew what to do and how to do this, and had to go to every single computer and device and do this manually. So just catastrophic damages. To which I say, blockchain. Guys, great news. There's a solution. And turns out I'm not going to act like I'm the one that thought of this, but I've been screaming it from the mountaintops. Decentralization solves this fucking problem. The over-centralization of these services and all these, by the way, you've got centralized databases controlling centralized institutions like banks. And the whole thing fucking shuts down and everybody's fucked. It's a shit show. Decentralized networks, unlike CrowdStrike, which is like the cybersecurity system for cajillions of dollars, decentralized networks do not rely on a single point of failure. They pushed through one update and it fucked everything. And decentralization solves this. In a network like Ethereum, for example, if even parts of the network go down, which happens, the system as a whole remains operational because it runs on multiple nodes from all over the world and all, you know what I mean? Decentralized systems distribute security across many nodes, which, you know, again, I'm not going to give you a breakdown of blockchain. I've done that on previous episodes, but it just makes it harder for an attack to compromise the entire network. Actually makes it impossible. And this distribution enhances security, reduces the impact of blah, 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 blah. The point I'm making here, without boring you to fucking death 5 minutes into the episode, is this should terrify you because of how simple it is to crash all these systems. It terrified me, and it should prompt you to pay attention to Web3 and blockchain and understand why it's called Web3, because it's the next evolution of the internet, because this shit cannot continue to happen. Okay? Not to mention all the data that's just constantly being hacked and leaked by accident. I got a fucking email from AT&T this morning. Hey, we're sorry. You may have heard about the data leak that happened this past. We want to assure you. Yeah, thanks for just fumbling my most sensitive fucking information, guys, that I didn't even give you. You just took it. Thanks. Fucking unbelievable. All right, moving on. Let's laugh. Did you guys see the Home Run Derby national anthem? Let's play it. Singer Ingrid Andress sang the national anthem before the Home Run Derby this past week. And spoiler alert, it was so bad that she checked herself into rehab after. Imagine performing and it going so badly that your PR is like, you got to say you were drunk and go to rehab. Because it's the only way to explain how fucking horrible this is. Okay, here's the national anthem. We're not going to listen to all of it for sake of your ears, but you'll get the idea.
With broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched.
Oh God,
were so gallantly streamed.
This guy's just laughing.
And the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Oh my God.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave
Brutal.
o'er the land of the free
Jesus.
and the home of the brave?
Holy fucking shit. I know I said I wasn't going to play the whole thing, but I just couldn't stop. It was like a car accident. That was so she said she was drunk. If you listen closely, you can actually hear Fergie's deep sigh of relief as she passed the baton for worst national anthem in the history of national anthems. Look, this isn't the national anthem that anybody expected, but it is the one that we deserve as a country. I mean, it is so alarmingly, she's so out of key that it sounds like when you set the auto-tune to the wrong key by accident. And this is only going to make sense for people that make music, but it sounds worse than if you're not using auto-tune. It's like that off. It sounds like she's got to turn the buffer size down in the Pro Tools session. You know, that's another one for. Yeah, I mean, this is fucking terrible. I mean, she said she was drunk. She had to be blackout drunk. I've been in sessions with people that are drunk, and you know, it's not this. I mean, she sounded like Francis Scott out of key instead of Francis Scott Key. Who wrote the national anthem? It's a good joke. Suck my dick. All right. Yeah, that's horrible. I mean, I don't know how you recover from that. Sorry, you got to find another profession. It's time to get out of music. Moving on. This has been brought to my attention. The company Mischief, MSCHF, which is a art collective. They're known for doing shocking things. They famously were the ones that launched and sold the giant red boots. They're a genius, and I want to really affirm this when I say it. I want you to hear me out clearly. They are a genius company. Everything they do, whether you think it's ridiculous like this or not, it's brilliant. It's performance art, most of it, but this is fucking hilarious. They dropped a microscopic handbag, a microscopic Louis Vuitton handbag, and it sold for $63,000. That's right. Mischief sold a microscopic handbag for $63,000. Look at this thing, dude. Look at this handbag. You got to really squint. You got to really look. Insect chic. You know, a bag for ants. This isn't a handbag. It's a finger bag. I could have it. You wouldn't even know if I could have it right here, right now. You wouldn't even know. I mean, finally, a bag I can fit all my microorganisms in on the go, you know? A practical solution to fit all your DNA in on the go. Look at this bag. I mean, of course, the comment section is just like, this is what's wrong with society. You know, rich people, instead of helping, you know, fund world hunger. And can we stop with that, first of all? Okay, obviously, we've established that rich people buy stupid shit instead of helping people. You don't need to comment it anytime something expensive happens, ever. Can we just laugh that they made this bag lime green? Dude, why did they make this bag lime green? It looks like a germ. The bag looks like a villain in Osmosis Jones. Look at this thing. I mean, imagine having this bag on your finger and like sneezing, you know? It's like rug carpet here. Imagine if it like falls in the rugged carpet and you gotta like fucking fuck. You got the microscope out. You look like the detective. It looks like when you suck on a Jolly Rancher until the very last second, like when there's just a little tiny Jolly Rancher left, and instead of like chewing on it and like swallowing it, you just like spit it out because you're a terrorist, like I used to do back when I ate Jolly Ranchers. That's what it looks like. It looks like a fucking Charlie and the Chocolate Factory ass handbag. You know the kid, the cowboy kid, and he got shrunk down into a. Honey, I shrunk the handbag. The episode of Rugrats where the kids shrunk down. Turns out it was just so Angelica could rock the fuck out of this Louis bag. You know. Look at this bag, dude. I'd buy this fucking bag. Fuck you guys. This thing's art. A microscopic Louis Vuitton handbag. Hard. Somewhere in China right now, a company is making microscopic knockoffs to sell on Temu. Right now. You'll be able to buy this same microscopic handbag for $4.99. There's going to be some fucking NPC on TikTok selling you a microscopic handbag knockoff on TikTok shop tomorrow, probably. All right. You guys want to talk? Let's get into it. I mean, is this a political show? I mean, I guess this is going to be during election cycle. Like, I have to talk about this stuff, you know, as the world's most important source of news. What choice do I have? Watch out, Jon Stewart. Watch out, John Oliver. Okay. Welcome to GNN, the Gino News Network, where we cover politics and all the pressing issues in the world that need to be discussed. Before we talk about Joe Biden stepping down, we're going to talk about, again, the thing that I planned on being the biggest thing in the news cycle this week, which is Donald Trump named JD Vance as the vice president candidate to his ticket. JD Vance, who sounds like a financial firm. Tell me that name doesn't sound like an investment firm or a bank. At JD Vance. Let's talk about JD Vance. Okay. Most people didn't know who the fuck JD Vance was about a week ago. I know who JD Vance is because he is pro crypto. And he's great on tech and crypto. Now, before we get into that, he is backed by Peter Thiel. Big tech and crypto are going to play. I said this again in a previous episode. Maybe you motherfuckers will start listening to me eventually and paying attention when I say stuff like this. I said crypto was going to play a huge part in this election. I said that big tech was going to play a huge role in this election. And lo and behold, Peter Thiel, who is the co-founder of PayPal and Palantir and is just a cajillionaire big tech investor. He's the one who first backed down. I don't know if he first backed Donald Trump, but he was a significant backer early on in Donald Trump's original presidential campaign in 2016. He was a significant contributor to Vance's political rise. A couple years ago, he was like about to lose the election in Ohio, and Peter Thiel came in pretty early on, or pretty late on, and fucking helped reverse the tide. JD Vance is 39, and he's very pro crypto. He's pro big tech, which is gonna kind of be one of the final nails in the coffin for the Democrats, because they have completely fucked themselves by taking such a strong anti-tech stance. I think that they thought that going like anti-crypto and anti-big tech was going to play well to voters. Turns out it didn't really. It didn't really affect the polls that much. But what it did do is it affected campaign donations. It affected the like lobbyist money being swirled around in Silicon Valley. And I mean, again, we talked about it on the crypto, one of the crypto episodes, where we talked about how Biden had to completely 180 his stance on crypto because all these people that have insane amounts of money in Bitcoin and Ethereum, including funds, were like, okay, well, if you're going to be anti-crypto and anti-big tech, we're going to have to support the party that's not. And they tried to reverse course, and it's just too late, right? So Thiel is a 56-year-old billionaire tech investor. He's got a history of promoting young, mission-driven men, not including Trump, who's not young when he nominated him, but Vance is amongst like a few other people who you've seen out of nowhere explode, like Vivek Ramaswamy, also backed by Peter Thiel. Vance's elevation is a milestone in Thiel's libertarian, anti-institutional project. Peter Thiel's like super libertarian, anti-bureaucracy. He donated $15 million to Vance's Senate campaign in 2022, which again helped him get that seat. And He was the one who facilitated Vance's reconciliation with Trump, leading to his current position. What reconciliation with Trump? Well, JD Vance, back in the day, compared Trump to a Nazi. He compared Trump to Hitler. Not any Nazi, the leader of the Nazi party. JD Vance was a never Trumper. And suddenly completely changed his stance and became not only a pro-Trumper, he became a fucking Trump slappy. Because he doesn't stand for anything. This is my problem with JD Vance. Obviously, I like that he's pro-crypto. My bags like that he's pro-crypto, right? But what this nomination has shown me and should show you, and these are things that we already know, but just really cemented. Vance and most politicians don't actually give a fuck about anything other than rising to power. And what's crazy about this JD Vance nomination and Peter Thiel investing in him, Peter Thiel is a gay billionaire. He's gay. JD Vance is adamantly against gay marriage. So why would Peter Thiel back JD Vance, somebody who outwardly does not support his lifestyle? Well, because one, Republican politicians don't actually care about gay marriage. Most of them. They don't give a fuck. They don't care about gay marriage. They don't care about abortion. They just know that it rallies their base and the Christians and conservatives of their base. And two, billionaires only care about electing Republicans because they're easy on billionaires and big business. So of course he's going to back JD Vance. And JD Vance, who again compared Trump to Hitler, maybe didn't even believe that. It was just popular at the time to be a Republican that's against Trump. And now that we're back to MAGA cult time, he's a fucking Trump slappy and is his best friend. Nothing is more terrifying to me than somebody that doesn't stand for anything other than rising to power. Okay? Because you can literally just be wherever the wind blows you. And by wind, I mean money. And that's the problem with Washington. That's the problem with these people. No, they don't they're all just conniving, greedy, most of them horrible people. There are some public servants in government, but they're not up there usually. Anyway, you don't need me to get into you don't need me to tell you that politicians are bad, okay? Something interesting I noticed. I have found myself on like far right X algorithm this week because of all the Trump stuff. I've been watching nothing but like Trump videos like about the assassination attempt and like conservatives talking about it and other people talking about it too. But because I've been looking at so much Trump stuff, Twitter has been just shilling me conservative Twitter. And, well, also X is just so conservative leaning because Elon Musk has gone from like closeted Republican to just full blown like kind of like oddly racist stuff he's been we're not going to get into it. Anyway, the point is I've found myself on conservative Twitter, and what was really interesting is how divided people were on this pick, on the JD Vance pick. Because the far right, like the white nationalist right, which is basically just racist right, the Nick Fuentes, that side of the Republican Party, hate this pick and are like very vocally against it. Because first of all, JD Vance has an Indian wife, and as somebody with an Indian girlfriend, love that. But they don't, because they, a lot of the talk has been like, well, how can, there's a genocide going on against the whites. There's a war against whitehood. And how can a man who's married an Indian wife be somebody we can trust to push that, push back against that and blah, blah, blah. And then there's like deep state Israel conversation amongst the far right saying he's got ties because of like Peter Thiel and talking about like the libertarian angle of Peter Thiel. Like they're very against this pick. So that's kind of been interesting to monitor. And again, I planned on really diving into like the divide of the conservative, but we don't have time to talk about that because Joe Biden dropped out of the race. Let me take a sip of this unbranded water before I get into this. And you know what else we're going to do? We're going to put on the pit vipers. Yeah, it's time to get serious. So Pikachu, I'm going to have to borrow these. We're going to take off the Cartier wires. And we got to put on the fucking pitties, dude, because it's time to get serious and talk about the state of our nation. Actually, Pikachu, do you want to wear the Cardies? I don't know if I've ever put the Cardies on him. Let's see if this works out. Damn. Okay, Pikachu. Okay, Pikachu with the Cardies on, my boy. All right, dog, putting on the A's. Okay, Pikachu. Pika. Okay, my boy. I can't even Pikachu in the Cardies. Okay. Sorry, I got to. Let's talk about the state of our nation. Today, hours before filming this podcast, Joe Biden announced that he was stepping down from his re-election campaign. He announced it on X with basically an iPhone note, like a celebrity apology tweet. Didn't address the nation. Didn't fucking even pull up the selfie cam. He just didn't even put it on presidential letterhead. Just dropped a note on Twitter. Hey guys, I'm all set. Thanks. On a Sunday. How you get fired on your day off? This is crazy. It's crazy because it's July. It's end of July. It's like July 21st. There's 100 days until the election. Lyndon B. Johnson is the only president in the history of our nation to not seek re-election. And that was in 1968. And that was in March. So Joe Biden just all of a sudden was like, you know what? The things they've been saying about me, you're probably right. I should step aside. Now, what do I think? I was just watching like a CNN clip where like Van Jones is crying about how this is patriotism. This is putting your country first. And Van Jones is crying on pretty much every time he ever talks about anything moderately emotional. I don't think this is that. Joe Biden got smoked out by his own party. They did him dirty. This is like Julius Caesar type shit. This was not Joe Biden putting the country first like the Democrats are trying to shape it. This is basically a fucking coup. This is basically them dragging Joe Biden behind the shed. Now, I don't know what happened here. We can all speculate on what happened here. I don't know if Joe Biden has been convincing people he was suited to run and was like, I'm running for re-election. Like I'm going to do it. And certain people in the party were like, I don't know if it's a good idea. We should get, and he was like, no, I'm going to do it. Or if the Democratic Party was like, we need Joe Biden to run because he gives us the best chance to win. And that is true. He does give you the best chance to win. Even in his current state. But there is no denying, unless you're in denial, that the Democrats forced him out after propping his corpse up like Weekend at Bernie's for the past year. He went out on that debate against Trump, and everybody was like, oh, fuck, this is not going to work. And from that point on, they have been trying to get him out of there. And this really heated up the past week. And there it is. He's out. Kamala Harris is in. We think. Joe Biden endorses Kamala Harris. Now, again, she's not officially the nominee. There's a lot of rumblings in the Democratic Party that we need to have a fair process. There are other good candidates. She should have to win her nomination, yada, yada, yada. It's going to be Kamala Harris, barring something crazy happening. So let's talk about Kamala Harris. First of all, she's got experience, right? She was the VP for 4 years. She was a senator for 4 years before that. She was the Attorney General of California for 6 years before that. She's a fierce competitor. She's a prosecutor, which typically would match up well against a prosecuted felon. Okay. She's 59 years old, which suddenly has Donald Trump looking pretty old. I mean, Donald Trump was looking like a spry young man next to Joe Biden. All of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, yeah, he is like 80, huh? No, he's like 20 years older than her. Yeah. So that being said, she's going to probably get absolutely smoked. She's going to probably get smoked. I mean, again, it should be noted, many Democrats have not endorsed her yet and are still calling for election to decide the nominee. So, like, the Democratic Party is still not unified on this decision. We are 100 days from the election. And now you have to be like, oh, hey, everybody, vote for her. Who, by the way, dropped out of the race originally her first time running because she couldn't get 1% of the vote. Okay. So, look, she'll probably pick Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, which will give her Pennsylvania. Everyone's speculating on like who she'll pick. It's going to be this guy. He's just a white guy from Pennsylvania. I'm seeing people like, oh, maybe she'll choose a woman. I mean, no shot. You think that you're going to be able to convince this country to vote for 2 women on the ticket? We saw how they treated Hillary when she ran. You think they're going to really? No. I love Big Gretch, but she's going to have her own campaign in 4 years. So she's going to pick just this white dude from Pennsylvania, which is a key battleground state. It'll give them Pennsylvania. People think that she's going to pick Gavin Newsom. Let me tell you how I know Gavin Newsom won't run on this ticket. I've known Gavin Newsom wasn't going to run early on from when there were first whispers of him maybe running. Do you know why? Do you know how I know? Because Gavin Newsom's ex-wife is engaged to one of Trump's sons. Yeah, that's right. There's no shot that he was going to run against the father-in-law of his ex-wife. You think Donald Trump wasn't going to bring that up in a fucking... No. No shot. So there it is. It's going to be Donald Trump and JD Vance versus Kamala Harris and a white guy. And I can't help but think, you know how I'm so fucking warped. The only thing I could think about when this was announced, I was like, man, Trump is in the war room right now with a team of his finest writers to come up with the Kamala Harris nickname. They're in there like they're debating about like going to kill Osama bin Laden with SEAL Team 6. They're like, we need the nickname for Kamala Harris. What's going to be the nickname? It's pivotal for his upcoming campaign. He said like Laughin' Kamala the other day. Laughin' Kamala is not going to cut it. It's not good enough. The pressure's on. This must be his magnum opus. I mean, let's look at some of his past nicknames. Sleepy Joe, masterpiece. Crooked Hillary, extremely effective for the narrative, right? Low Energy Jeb was just fucking hilarious. I mean, that's so funny for Jeb Bush. Of course, Ron DeSantis. He called him Meatball Ron, which is the funniest, easily the funniest nickname ever. He also called him Ron de Sanctimonious, which is a little pedantic, but funny. Yeah, so it's got to be, it's going to have to be really, and whatever the nickname is, you'll know that's the narrative they're crafting for against Kamala Harris. But yeah, I think like the takeaway here is that the Democrats completely fucked themselves. I mean, they should be embarrassed as a party. They dug their own grave. They lied about how good a health he was in, and then they had to completely 180 like days later and be like, oh, we knew about it, but we want, like, they're cooked, man. It's crazy. One other thing to note, House Speaker Mike Johnson, I just saw this too. Excuse me. House Speaker Mike Johnson says, if Democrats replace Biden at this late stage, Republicans will file lawsuits challenging ballot access in every state. And that's not how that works. That's just like political speak and agenda pushing. You can't do that. I mean, in election law, legally, the party can, at the very last moment, change their nomination if they haven't named a nomination. If they find that somebody is unfit to rule, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the last thing that we'll say about this, there's other people who are calling for him to step down, which is an interesting thought. It's like, well, if you're not fit, there's very key wording in his statement, which is like, I've decided to not run for re-election because it's best for my country and my party so that I can focus on the end of my term. He doesn't say like because of my health or because of my age. He just kind of like keeps it vague. But they're saying like if he's not fit to rule, which is like the underlying thing that's being said here, you know, that's what I don't know. I think like let's let him fucking finish. I mean, he's been a corpse for a few years now. This is just how politics work. The party does their bidding. So anyway, that's going to do it. That's going to conclude our segment on GNN. I don't want to bore you with politics anymore. Frankly, I'm bored talking about it. And I want to get back to the important things, which are making fun of people that deserve to be made fun of. Right? Right. So let's put the Pit Vipers back on Pikachu, the Pitties back on Pika. I'm going to take another sip of unbranded water, and we're going to get into everybody's favorite segment. What is that segment? Well, that's the FOH HOF, the Fuck Outta Here Hall of Fame. And this week, we've got a couple gems for you. Here's the first one. It is, again, you got to be watching on YouTube for some of this stuff. Like, you're not going to get the full effect listening. But basically, it's these two people doing chai, which is like telekinesis. Is it ki? How do you say it? Tai chi. Yeah, chi. They're doing chi. Pushing around aluminum. Let's just watch it. Let's roll the clip. Look, it's the Last Foilbender. Bro thinks he's Aang, you know? Is the economy doing this bad that this is what people are doing? I mean, aluminum foil weighs like 2 grams. So are you trying to convince people that you possess the ability to fling very light objects using wind? Like, try it. Okay, now do that with like a solid object. Okay, great. Now do that with a glass of water or like anything that's not a flimsy piece of aluminum foil, you know? When they're done pushing that tin foil around on the table, they're going to turn it into a hat and debate about flat Earth with it. This is so, look at these two, man. They're dressed like an Earth, Wind, and Fire cover band. They go by Wind, Wind, and Wind. Just like... These two have never seen a fan in their life. Wait until they discover that paper fans can cool you off on a hot day. They're just gonna blow their fucking mind, dude. I'm manipulating air wind molecules to cool off heat. I am the Last Airbender. This is what happens when anime kids that are millennials grow up and become working class adults, you know? Like this, you know, he just grew up like wanting to fucking kamehameha his whole life and is now like thinking he can implement that into his routine. Look at these two, man. Like, what do they think they're doing telekinesis? Just blowing. Telekinesis, huh? Telekinesis. That's not what that is. This is just unemployedness. Man, I wish I had some aluminum foil. I should have brought some aluminum foil so I could try to do... Do we have like a Kleenex or something? Like a tissue? Okay, perfect. All right, hold on. Let me fucking do this. I'm going to do some chi. Okay, everybody, you're watching. I'm going to do some chi. Oh, damn. Maybe this is kind of harder than I thought. I'm doing it. If you're really missing something special if you're not watching this. It's really tough without aluminum foil. I signed up for their course. Let's try this. It's a little bit more dense of an object. All right, I'm going to do some chi. Ready? Wow. See that? Do it again. Hold on, I have to like really harness. You guys see that? Let's do it one more time. There we go. Hold on. Okay. Kame. Well, there you have it. Sorry, guys. I just took a lot out of me. Yeah, you don't know how, like, physically taxing it is to move that much energy with your mind. To move, like, that kind of mass just by going into your mind palace. You could actually see me. What I had to do is I had to journey into my mind palace, right? And then in that mind palace, I gathered all the energy and all the molecules, right? And I brought those energy molecules, I brought that back into and channeled it, and then fucking just, you know. Okay. We'll clean this up after. All right, let's get into the next video. All right, I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna do some chi. Ready? Hold on, I have to like really harness. It's a little bit more dense of an object. All right, I'm gonna do some chi. Okay. We'll clean this up after. All right, let's get into the next video. All right, let's get into the next video. I've seen this guy a couple of times, and once again, just waiting for the right video to make fun of because all his clips are ridiculous. But this one just took the cake, right? So here we go.
This barber charges me about $30,000 per session. That's all right with me. So I made $61,000 yesterday, and when you make money like that every single day, you gotta be careful with what you do. I can't go to no regular barber shop. I can't just sit there. So instead, I have a barber come in, and that's what I do for my safety. It is a little more expensive. In particular, this barber charges me about $30,000 per session. That's all right with me. It's all good. There you go, bro. Good looking out, my guy. And it is what it is, but it's for my safety. I gotta be protected. I gotta be careful. I can't just be at no barbershop where people are coming in and out. People know I made 60 to 100K a day. I got a target on my back. I pay the price. Half that trade goes with the cut. Get this about every 4 days, and life is good.
Hey, look, it's Post's dumbass videos Malone. I mean, first of all, cap. First of all, and most importantly, 3-letter word, cap. Cap even bigger than the moissanite shop GLD Cuban around your neck. I mean, bro was practically begging me to make a video on him posting this clip. He damn near tagged me in it. He damn near put the fucking bat signal into the air. $30,000 haircut. Every 4 days, barber makes $2.7 million a year. You spend $2.7 million a year on that goofy-ass haircut. Bro could have invested that money into buying 10 rental homes before 30. He could have bought 10 barbershops before 30. This is obviously a lie. And thank God that it is. Thank God you're lying. The only thing worse than lying about getting a $30,000 haircut twice a week is getting a $30,000 haircut twice a week. Like, dude, you're an idiot. Oh, so instead of getting robbed by a stranger on the street, you get robbed by your barber at your crib. $30,000 haircut. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. This is the worst clickbait I've ever seen. And not clickbait like the worst clickbait, like it's not effective, but it's like the worst piece of content designed to be clickbait that I've ever seen. This is like if you went fishing, right? And instead of catching even a single fish with the bait on your line, all the fish poked their head out of the water and started making fun of you. Like, this isn't a real worm, dickhead, obviously. And all the fish just started clowning you and then swam away. Like, what's the point of this? What's the goal? What's the goal here? We all know you're lying. Everybody that watches this video knows you're full of shit, right? Because of course you're not paying $30,000 for a haircut, right? Even the barber that you handed the fake money to laughed. Couldn't even keep a straight face. You could barely keep a straight face. So we all know you're lying, right? So your goal is to do what? Convince people that you have money so they'll buy a course from you? First of all, you can't convince us that you have money by lying about a giant monetary spend with fake money. So that is going to alert people that you don't have money and you're a scammer. And then even if you were dumb enough to think it was real, and you got to be really dumb. I mean, you got to be 7 years old or have the mental capacity of a 7-year-old. And there are people like that on the internet, sure. But if you did believe it was real, who the fuck wants to buy a financial course from a guy that overpays for a haircut by $29,900? You're lighting $2.7 million on fire a year. And it's like, yeah, well, I got ops, I got to make sure because when you got a target on your back like me, motherfucker, you put the target on your back and you put the dunce cap on your head. Dickhead. Acting like he has ops. The only ops he has are the idiots that he ripped off on his Forex trading course. You don't have ops. Nobody knows who you are. Except for the people that fall for this, which again are the stupidest people and probably deserve to be robbed, just like you do. $30,000 haircut, dude. Look at this guy.
This barber charges me about $30,000 per session. That's all right with me. So I made
That's all right with me. Here's a screen with a bunch of random numbers that could just easily be made up, probably are.
$61,000 yesterday. And when you make money like that
Sick.
every single day, you got to be careful what you do. I can't go to no regular barber shop. I can't just sit there. So instead, I have a barber come in and
Yes, you can. Yes, you can go to a regular barbershop. Just don't wear all your fucking fake chains. Or if they're real, which they're probably not, because again, I have to go on context and the information that's been given to me. And the information that's been given to me is you're a liar and a scam artist. So probably don't have that. You're probably not making $60,000. Now, I know people who make $60,000 a year trading crypto. I'm sure you can make $60,000 a year trading Forex, but nobody that signs up for your course will. Fact. But like, just don't bring your shit with you. You can't get robbed. All the money's on your phone. Dude. Or here's a crazy idea. Have a barber come to your house and just pay him $100 like most people do when they have a barber come to their house. No barber's charging $30,000 unless he's giving you a kilo of coke. I mean, who... Jeff Bezos would charge less money to fucking cut your hair. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of this fucking idiot. All right, I'm so exhausted, man. You don't understand how much I've before this. I had to throw the whole episode out. I had a whole episode plan. I had to just throw the whole thing out. I've been cramming for 2 hours on anyway. Before we wrap the show, I want to do this. I want to do Just Ask Gino. I had a good question that was asked to me that I want to talk about because it's something I'm very passionate about. Somebody asked me, who wanted to remain anonymous. Somebody asked me, you've mentioned requiring a songwriting fee when working on a song. How do you approach asking for money? And when do you put your foot down, etc.? So first, I'm going to talk about songwriting, and then I'm just going to talk about negotiating in general, how I've approached business things like this. When it comes to songwriting and charging a fee, or if you're a producer and what your fee should be, for example, the most important thing in these instances is obviously to know your worth. Now, starting out early on, everybody has to shovel shit. When you are first starting, you got to work for free. You got to work for the opportunity. You got to just get in the room, right? And there's no working around that. Sorry. Until you're established, you have to just fucking swallow your pride and shovel shit, right? But what's most important is that once you've proven your worth, whether it takes years or a few sessions or some songs or whatever, once you've proven your worth to a potential client and yourself, it is important to enforce that. And what I mean by to yourself is when you're starting out, you might be confident and you might have aspirations and be I can do this at any level. But until you've proven to yourself, I do deserve to be in the room with these people. I've early on in my career, I had big sessions right? And I'm like, yeah, I deserve to be in the room with these people. But I didn't really like the records. Nothing really happened with the songs, or like they didn't, listen. Like they were cool, but until I like was in with somebody big, had a big record, had the results. My peer was like, yo, you're fire. We gotta work more. Like until that started happening, and I really like could look myself in the mirror and be like, yeah, you did it. You've earned it. You've worked for it. You've gotten better. You've improved at whatever that craft is. Now I know my worth. And your worth should go up incrementally as you continue receiving accolades, do better, work with bigger people, have bigger things. Again, this isn't just music. In anything you do, knowing your worth, that number is fluid. And like many, many years ago, when I came up with and trademarked Price Went Up, before Fat Joe ran with it, the whole concept of price went up, like my price went up again, dummies, is what I used to say. That's to acknowledge my price has gone up, like a stock price, but also my price to work with me has gone up because I, every day, am trying to get better, do better, get bigger, and my price has gone up. My license plate to this day is still price up. All that to say, your price, what you charge for your time, how you value your time, doesn't need to be a static number. Like I have a number in my head that I charge for a song. I have like a rate, but that's fluid. Depending on what I'm working on, that number might go up or it might come down a little bit. For example, if I'm getting asked to work with an artist that I don't know anything about, I don't really think, I don't know if it's going to be anything. Like you might not have anything out that's popping yet, or you're not proven. And you ask me like, yo, how much to like do a full album for me? My rate's going to go up because, to be honest, it's not worth my time to invest so much time and emotion into something that I don't know is going to have, it doesn't have the backing behind it, doesn't have the money to go behind it. I don't know if it's going to go. It's just not worth as much to me. But they might say, well, I only have this amount of money in my budget. I can only afford this amount. Then I have to ask myself, okay, am I okay getting paid X amount for X amount of my time and energy? And you should ask yourself that every time. And like, it's okay to be like, honestly, nah, it's not worth it. Or to be like, yeah, sure, I could use like $5,000. That sounds nice. Oh, I just got to show up for this thing for like a couple days and like, yeah, sure, I could use $5,000 right now. I'll do it for that. Whatever that number is, you should always be asking yourself that question. And there are instances today where like it'll be with a major label. I know they got a big budget. It's a big artist that's rich. And they'll ask me, are you down to do this? Sorry, we don't have a budget. And then I have to ask myself, do I want to work with this person? Knowing I'm kind of getting fucked here? Usually the answer is no. Fuck off. But sometimes it's okay to be like, yeah, I just still want to do it. I make music because I love it and I love doing it. So like there are instances where like you don't need to put your foot down. You might want to go do it and it's okay to go do it. And again, this isn't just music. This is anything you do professionally or as a hobby or as a side gig or whatever the fuck. But like it's very important to know your worth because like it's a lot like how could I compare this? It's a lot like when you're talking to a girl, fellas, when you're dating. If you're overly eager, she's going to, I think this was the Just Ask Gino last week. If you're overly thirsty, they can sense that. But when you don't really care, they sense that. they're like, fuck, he doesn't need this. You know? I've had many instances where it's like, hey, we want this song. Okay, cool. This is my rate. Ah, sorry, we don't have a budget and we don't really pay songwriters. Oh, okay. Well, you don't get the song then. Oh, really? Well, I mean, we're really excited about the song. We're going to push it. Yeah, I hear you, but it's okay. I'll just give it to somebody else that's going to pay me what I'm worth. Well, hold on. What if we did it for, what if we gave you, no, this is what it is. Hey, guys, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to give it to somebody else. And then fucking lo and behold, I get a call the next day or an email in 3 days that's like, actually, we will pay it and we do want it. And you would be shocked how often that happens. So that's the long-winded answer to your question. When it comes to negotiating, at the end of the day, there's 100 million tactics people will tell you to use. But like, if you know the number you want and you're firm in that, it doesn't matter about the negotiation because you just know what you're worth and what you want. And if it's not worth your time, don't fucking do it. Okay? And that's that. So there you have it. Guys, I want to thank you for listening to Good Luck this week. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, download it to your device, send it to a loved one or a sworn enemy. If you're watching on YouTube, and you should be watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button. Smash the ever-loving fuck out of that subscribe button, and go ahead and grease up that algorithm by leaving a comment. And buy the merch. Link down below. Get your Bring Back Bullying merch today. And now we're going to end the episode with everybody's favorite AI theme song. The only AI theme song, the only AI music you should ever listen to. The Good Luck Farewell. Until next week, as the world continues to melt and collapse, as society just materializes into whatever fucking clusterfuck this is, good night and good luck. Oh, that's the wrong song. That's the intro. Good night and good luck. Hey.
Everybody listen close. There's a brand new show that you gotta know.
What's that? Oh.
Good luck
With who?
with Gino.
That's right. That's me.
It's gonna